Okay, thank you very much, everyone. Lovely to see you, and thank you for inviting me to talk about Freemasons for Women's Pale Blue Club. I was asked by our Grand Master, the Most Worshipful Christine Chapman, who's here this evening, to take over the running of our Pale Blue Club just under about a year ago, as it had been redundant for a little while. Having previously had social and informative events at our headquarters in 402 Finchley Road, London, my future plans to continue these were scuppered by, of course, this great COVID-19 pandemic which is upon us, that started in March of last year, and of course our first lockdown. So I swiftly decided to go with Zoom, which was the only way forward at the time. And it has turned out to be more amazing than I ever imagined. For the first time, we can connect visually with our brethren in all our lodges all over the UK, and indeed the rest of the world. Our lodges up north, the Isle of Man, our two lodges in Spain, Calahonda and Alicante, Gibraltar, Romania, India, and the USA. Something that had been so restricted due to distance and time zones. Our Pale Blue Club has no criteria, no fees, and the only eligibility is that a member must be a Pale Blue Freemason. No Grand Lodges allowed, I'm afraid. We hold our get-togethers once a month, usually on a Tuesday evening, about 6 p.m. This enables us to let our Indian Lodge members join us just before bedtime, and our US brethren at their midday break. Our first meeting was actually in June 2020. At each session, we try to find interesting subjects and speakers that are usually member-led topics. Our breakout rooms are the highlights, where the girls can meet each other and get to know brethren from other lodges, and are given the opportunity to connect with them on a personal and social level, hopefully forging great friendships that they wouldn't normally be able to do. Sometimes we give them the quizzes or topics to discuss while they're in their rooms, which is great fun, and they really, really love these breakout rooms. In fact, they keep asking for them each time they come on. The rest of our 1 hour sessions are filled with question time, birthdays, forthcoming events, and sometimes fun polls. We have also set up a WhatsApp group for our Pale Blue Club members, containing information and a way for those that wish to connect socially, as well as a Google Drive account with information on previous sessions that they may have missed, recordings from speakers, and a calendar of events. Quarterly, we have a little initiative that we've just started. We have a Pale Blue Club social where we invite all our Masons in waiting. These are now being extended to 6 times a year. These are for all our prospective candidates who have already been interviewed by their lodges that they have chosen, or have been designated to by our Grand Secretary, Very Worshipful Brother Maxine Priestley, but due to the pandemic have not been able to be initiated, or also for those that have made inquiries through the internet or have been introduced by friends, or even Pale Blue Club members that come on to these socials and bring along a friend that may have said that they just wanted to know a little bit more about women's Freemasonry. We've had some wonderful speakers and topics, and at our last autumn social, we were privileged to have the company of Worshipful Brother Tony Harvey, who gave a fabulous visual talk on Freemasonry and Freemasons, both for men and women, which was followed by an extensive question and answer time. So we went well over our hour, but everybody loved it and stayed behind to speak to him. This question often pops up: what is the difference between men and women's Freemasonry? The answer is none. Our fraternity, the HFAF, the Honourable Fraternity of Ancient Freemasons, which is now renamed the Freemasons for Women, follows the same format as the men's, the same ritual and the same principles. Our previous meeting last week was a topic close to so many, charity. And our president of the Grand Lodge Charity, Right Worshipful Brother Beverly Emden, gave us a wonderful insight to the many incredible charities we have supported and continue to do so. Our next winter social on the 21st of February for Pale Blue Club members and Masons in Waiting will also be based around community and how much the young and the old in our fraternity have benefited from their Freemasonry, both in very diverse ways. I feel it's very important for our Masons in Waiting to acknowledge the diverse members that we do have from around the world of all ages, young and old, and from all walks of life. And the Zoom platform has enabled me to do this in so many different ways. To keep our Masons in Waiting informed and engaged, we have just set up a separate mailing list for Masons in Waiting called the Freemasons for Women Candidates. Although we are very aware that those assigned to lodges are invited to their own socials, we thought it would be beneficial if they had the chance to meet a wider group of women who were inquiring about Freemasonry. Our Freemasonry for Women Candidates has a WhatsApp group where members can chat informally, and we have started a feature called Ask a Mason, where each month the questions asked by members are voted on. The question with the highest number of votes is answered by a Freemason for Women Freemason. On a regular basis, we plan on issuing Masons in Waiting with information as well as special study sessions, especially prepared by the Worshipful Master of a Research Lodge. This centralises contact for this group and ensure that all receive the same information at the same time. Our Pale Blue Club has of course got a brilliant presence on social media. Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, which my amazing administrator, Brother Tina Akandi, who's here this evening with this presentation for you, monitors and updates. Both Tina and myself are always available to answer any questions or concerns that any of our members may have at any time. When this pandemic subsides and we are allowed to meet again, Tina and I will continue to hold face-to-face socials, but we will definitely continue with our brilliant Zoom get-togethers so we can keep in touch with our brethren further afield. My aim has always been to make our Pale Blue Club fun, informative, social, and inspirational. Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you very much for that. That was brilliant. You guys seem like you do an awful lot of things, and that breakdown session that you all do that sounds brilliant.
Breakout rooms, they love the breakout rooms. They really do. It just gives them a chance. Instead of being lots of people on a screen, they get to chat, and we try and mix them up. And obviously Zoom mixes them up, but it's great. They love it because they get to chat and talk and meet different people, and hopefully each time they come on, they get to meet other Masons as well. So
am I right in thinking, Leslie, that in terms of your fraternal organisation, it is quite sparse in terms of distance, so you're not all kind of that close to one another?
Well, we have obviously a big contingency in London and the surrounding areas, which is where our headquarters are, spread out, you know, down as far as Sussex, going up county, and then we've got another, can't think of the word, section up north, the Isle of Man. But we are able at Grand Lodge and all Masons to visit most of the lodges that are sort of around the UK. And our lodges up north hold meetings several times during the year that we can go and visit as well.
Yeah, I mean, because what I was thinking was because you ladies do so much in terms of online presence and your lectures and everything else, and because your audience is India and in other parts of the world, have you noticed any kind of positive impact in doing these that have kind of increased any kind of fraternal bonds within your organisation through lockdown?
With the Zoom?
Yeah.
Amazing, unbelievable in all aspects. I'm a preceptor of my lodge. Just being able to do LOIs on Zoom. Not everyone can make the LOIs. I mean, we have LOIs usually the week before our meetings, unlike the men. I think that you have them sort of every week. We have them before each meeting, and it's difficult. Girls, especially the younger girls now, have all got jobs. They're tied up at work. They can't get there in time. So it's given me a fantastic platform, and socials where everybody can come along. Some can't because they're tied up at work, family. And it's just brought everybody together. It really, really has. And as I said, with the Pale Blue Club, we've been able to outreach to all the other countries where we have lodges, which you wouldn't be able to do. And of course, even ones, you know, we've got lodges in Coventry, Sussex, Bournemouth, all over, which it's hard for them to come to London. It's a journey. And they come for meetings. So it's nice for them to be able to come to socials on Zoom. So yes, definitely.
Yeah, I think particularly through everything that's been going on, it's provided a real positive tool, I think, for everyone. This platform as well as others. Yeah, it's been great.
Leslie, as part of any club or organisation, the secretary usually finds it difficult to wrangle its own members from one province, let alone the whole world. How do you find bringing all your members together and keeping them connected, bearing in mind, like you say, they do live all over the place, and maybe time issues are difficult?
With Zoom or on a regular basis?
Just on a regular basis.
Well, we keep in touch. That obviously each lodge has its abroad has its installations, which as many of us that can try to attend. Our America Lodge unfortunately missed its installation that we could go to this year because of the pandemic, which was in March. But there's a contingency of Grand Lodge and members that go and visit wherever we can. I mean, Spain is very accessible. Lots of people, they make a holiday of it and go. And all the other lodges, everybody goes to. We visit whenever we can. People make friends in other lodges, support each other in other lodges. And so you make a concerted effort to go and visit them whenever you can.
Craig from the Adair Club, do you want to unmute yourself and ask your question? And I fear it's a question that you may get asked quite a lot. Craig, are you there? I'll ask it for him. He says, Leslie, why do you call yourselves brothers and not sisters? Do you get... I'm
actually going to let our Grand Master Christine Chapman to answer that, because she answers it so well.
I believe she answered it last time as well.
Yes.
I answer it on a regular basis.
Yes.
We consider ourselves to be members of a universal brotherhood of Freemasonry. That's why we're brothers and not sisters. Fantastic. And we have been brothers since the early 1900s. So it would be very, very strange for us to think of ourselves as sisters.
Of course. I think this is probably why Craig didn't unmute himself. But thank you, Craig, all the same. Dan Cook from the Northampton Hunts Young Masons Club, what is your question?
Yeah, hi. I just wondered whether within your socials you involve the family as well. So we try to get our wives and children involved with some of the light blue socials we do. I just wondered whether you did the same, and also whether your partner or husband hates it as much as my wife does.
I think he's been so used to it over all the years where he's come to socials. No, he enjoys it. I mean, he's not a Freemason, but no, he enjoys the socials. The Pale Blue Club haven't done that as of yet. I know a lot of our lodges have had socials. involving partners, families, but that is possibly something we could do in the future. We try and keep our we call them get-togethers because they're not meetings, our get-togethers to sort of an hour. I think a lot of our lodges are having LOIs during the week, they're having socials during the week, and just don't want to flood them. I think at the beginning of the pandemic, the Zoom was a novelty and everybody was glad to get onto it. But I think a lot of people are working from home, they're on their screens all the time. So we try and keep it to sort of the minimum, the amount of time that people are on. But that is something I think we could consider, maybe a few times a year, have a social, especially with our brethren from abroad, might be fun. So yeah, thank you, Dan. That's something we could consider. Thank you.
Christine, how important has the Pale Blue Club been to the fraternity as a whole for you?
Well, we've had several goes at setting this up and none of them have been successful, and we asked Leslie to take it on, and as they say, she picked up the idea and ran with it. And it's been extremely successful, and I think it's going to bear a lot of fruit in the future in making sure that the brethren feel a lot more together, and especially the ones from places like India and America, that we're not just these faceless names that they've heard of, that they can actually feel as though they know us and they've made friends with us. So that's what we think it's going to engender, a real sense of belonging.
Fantastic. And Leslie, post pandemic, whenever this might be, what are your big plans? What are your plans for maybe end of 2021, at least 2022?
Well, my plans are to go back to having face-to-face socials like we've had, not particularly at 402, our headquarters, but to do things outside of that, things that not only instructional things on Freemasonry, but I think social, which I think is an important part, that the girls all get together and have a nice social event. And I will continue to do Zoom now forever. This is something I'm never giving up because it's just proved so wonderful. And I think, and it's very hard for all our girls to get together in London. And it's not so easy for me to do this sort of in all the different counties. So I will, yes, Tina and I will work through something that we can do that's on Zoom that will carry on and keep them interested. And I will continue to keep our Masons in Waiting interested, because I think that's the essential part of all of this, is not losing those that have shown an interest, and it takes a while. And obviously we're going to have a backlog of initiations, passings and raisings when the time comes. So just to keep everyone happy and yes, and involved, and just find some interesting socials that we can do.